Hi everyone, Sean here from the Sci-Fi Model Guy, and welcome to Chapter 2 of the R2D2 and R5D4 build series. I was a little bit mistaken before. I thought that this was going to just be a 2-chapter build series. It is actually going to turn out to be 3. So in the next video after this, we'll look at all the weathering, and in this one you'll see the robots assembled, and we'll talk about some of the techniques and things that we learned about that. So that's really all there is for this video, everyone. But I do want to thank you all and remind everybody we are still on our drive to reach 1,000 subscribers. We are at 942, if you can believe it. So we just need 58 more of you to hit that subscribe button and enter hashtag enterprise along the comments on this video or any of the videos on the channel for your chance to win this right here. So we'll be doing that giveaway, and I can't wait to get that built for you. So we've talked about that a lot. And for this one, we're going to go jump back into some of the viewer mail. Actually have a backlog of this, so this is a really cool problem to have. So I'm going to go dark here, and then I'm going to turn my attention here to the printout that I have. So first up, we've got a lot of pictures here from Jim, who submitted some great pictures of the 650 scale Klingon D7 that we built here on the channel just a few weeks ago. And these are some really wonderful pictures. And one of the things that really kind of stuck out to me when I was looking at this was that Jim decided to do some lighting on the side of that front upper bridge assembly. There's some lighting going on there, which I think was a really nice choice. And it was hard. I mean, that model kit kind of lends itself, so there are light leaks, and it looks like you just made it work for you. And you know, like we always say, this wasn't screen accurate, but neither was the one that we built on this channel. And by no means do I feel anyway that anyone should feel obligated to be screen accurate or picture accurate. This is all about having fun and what you think looks good. So if you want to, like, in your head, make a variant on a ship, or maybe just something that looks cool, you know, for like the D7 that we built here, that little engineering assembly there on the back wasn't quite screen accurate just because I didn't quite like the way it looked, so I changed it a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. So yeah, so you do what you think looks cool, and I want to thank you, Jim, for submitting these wonderful pictures here. And next we've got some quick pictures, just 3 of these pictures here from Michael, who sent in some custom Bussard collectors that he's doing for the USS Yamaguchi. And if you are a Star Trek fan like myself, you would know that the Yamaguchi is also an Ambassador class starship, which is like the Enterprise C from the great episode Yesterday's Enterprise. And Michael, if you are watching this video, I would love to see more of that build. The Ambassador class is by far my favorite starship design, so it would be great to see what you're doing with it and how you're coming along with that. So thank you for that submission, and those Bussard collectors look really good. So, oh yeah, speaking of the Ambassador class, we are going to be doing another Enterprise C build on the channel at some point here. I've got actually 4 more of those kits. I just, like I said, I like that build so much. I like the kit so much. I bought 5 of them when they came out. But the one we're going to do here is going to be full battle damage, like actually battle damage, not using the decals for it, but we're going to do some really creative, cool stuff there, like maybe what the ship looked like right before its destruction. I think that would be kind of cool. So that's coming up. Couldn't even tell you when. And then lastly here, we have some pictures from Rick, who is working on a 537 scale Enterprise. Actually, it's just this one picture from Rick. My apologies. But this is a really interesting circuit board. And man, it looks complicated. Rick was kind enough to share this with us and sent a link to his own channel, which we will be pinning in the comments here. I'll pin that when we get this video uploaded, so you can go ahead and check out Rick's channel. And it was really nice of him to send that along to us. I really appreciate that, Rick. And Rick also shouts out a channel called Ostrich Longneck. And it looks like there's a lot of electronic stuff, and there's a really neat series on there that Rick sent a link to and it's called Electronics for Model Builders. It looks like it's a 12-part series, really detailed stuff to make your own custom soundboards and electronic boards, lighting things, you know, timing switches, all that kind of stuff that's way, way beyond me. I'm sure I could probably muddle through it and figure it out at some point, but maybe down the future. But for anyone who's interested in doing their own electronics, or maybe even looking into that, go ahead and check out Electronics for Model Builders. That's a series by Ostrich Longneck, and I want to thank Rick for sending that out to us. And we are back here with my face. So I want to thank everyone for submitting your emails to me. I do have a quick shout out for Jody and Mark and Ian. I think I did respond to you guys. You guys did send me some stuff too. I just didn't have enough time to squeeze that in, so I want to do that next go around. And let me see, it's Mark. The stuff that came from Mark is absolutely incredible. I think you guys are going to really like that. So we'll make sure and spend a good amount of time reviewing those pictures. You guys are going to really like what's coming with that. So I want to thank everyone for sending me their stuff. Jody, of course, you know, you're sending me a lot of updates. Ian sends a lot of updates. So really awesome, man. I just love seeing that thing from everyone. And for those of you out there who haven't yet submitted your own work to us, send it. It's the sci-fi model guy at gmail.com. And every email does get a response. Every picture will get featured up on the show. And I like the problem of actually having too many. I really like it. So trying to do a better job of responding to everybody, and hopefully you all have some patience with me. So, all right, everyone, that's it for now. Going back onto the video, remember, hashtag Enterprise. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and I look forward to building this guy for somebody, or her, building this girl for somebody out there. We'll talk to you later, everybody. See ya. All right, everyone. So in front of us, we have all of the pieces to R2 and R5. So there are a couple of red pieces here for R5D4. There's the blue pieces for R2. All of the insignia white pieces here. And in this box here are the pieces we painted with the gloss aluminum. I think that's what it was. It was gloss aluminum. Now, to I think recap, I think in the first video we did, it was talking about using some of these, you know, like the red here, and there was some gloss aluminum from the paint cans, and I was initially going to airbrush them. Well, it turned out, luckily, I did have a metallic blue in spray form, and this is all Tamiya paints, so I was able to get a nice metallic blue on the blue, and then I have like a flat fire engine red or whatever, matte red for R5. And aside from that, insignia white there, and just spray gloss aluminum. So everything was sprayed. Thank goodness, because again, I don't like using my airbrush if I don't have to. It's more economical, of course, but the cleanup and all that stuff, I just prefer to spray over there near the front of the garage so I can open the door and air it out. So, all right. Well, I'm not going to record much of putting this together. I might in a couple of spots, but I want to just call out something. So if you're doing one of these Tamiya models and you have decided to paint it as I have, now one of the things about Tamiya, that I'm going to turn the light here for you, their pieces are extremely tight-fitting, well-fitting, absolutely immaculate as far as their firmness. And so the thing that happens there is you get if you do paint it, it becomes kind of hard to push them together because they're made so exact that even a very thin layer of paint makes it hard to push these things together. And they're all very well formed. So you've got like little male parts here, female parts here, and they go to, you know, almost all their pieces snap in really well. Now, if you've painted it as I have, you might find some of that to be difficult, and you have to push really hard to do it. So for some cases like that, and I'll try to film it when I come across one, what I've got here is just an old rag here that, you know, so if I need to, and I'll use a rag and a pair of pliers. Sometimes you need to put that extra pressure leverage, and I will record that if I come across any. Hopefully I won't, but probably will happen. But just in case I don't, or I forget to do it, what you will want to do, I'll just do for instance here. I'm not actually going to put these together, but you could probably guess what's going to happen here. So you put the two pieces together, you fold them really well, and then you take your pliers and you just push very light pressure. Like if you have to do this, very, very light. And the rag is there, of course, to prevent from chipping the paint or making dents in the plastic. I've only had to do it a few times, but in case you ever do, it might be an option you might have to go to if you've painted. I have yet to do a model where I break the plastic or chink it so bad that you can see it. So it is okay. But other than that, there's really not much to talk about. These things go together like a Lego, pretty much. Now, the instructions can be a little bit difficult sometimes. Now, these here, I don't know if you can see, these are all Japanese. So when I ordered this, I think it just came from Japan. Yeah, there's some words here. So I'm just going to have to go on the visuals. But that's okay. Unless there's like some kind of text reader, there's probably an app I can take a picture of that or download. I could probably download the English version of these, but it's going to be okay. They're a little bit complicated when you look at them, but the nice thing is all the instructions have little call outs. So let's do a little zoom in here. And we're going to go right here. Let's just move that so I can see it. So if you see here, whoa, that's way too far, isn't it? There we go. There. All right. So right here, you see these two little arrows. Now, these things in these instructions are just calling attention to that. So this piece, for example, that little arrow, that's telling you to look for that little nub, just so you know how to orient it. So they've done very well with their instructions on calling out things like that. So when you're making one of these, just take your time. If it's confusing, just look at the instructions a little bit deeper and you should find the answer. So that's it. Now, the only other thing I am going to mention here is that I am going to put this together wearing these neoprene gloves. I think it's neoprene, whatever they are, but they're shop gloves. So I'm going to put these because, we all have oil on our skins and paint and things. And when you're putting these things together, you're really handling them a lot and you're pushing hard and it would just deposit all of our oils on here and smudge it. I don't want that to happen. I want all of the weathering on this to be natural, not natural, sorry, intentional. That's the word we're looking for. So yeah, so all of the major handling and pushing these things together, I will be wearing these gloves just to make sure I don't get any fingerprints, oils, or like I have some paint on my hands from something else I was painting right now, and that. So that's it, everyone. We'll come back if I can find a time where we need the pliers or something else of interest comes up. I'll go ahead and record that. Other than that, we'll just record when we're done, I suppose. So stand by, everyone, and enjoy the next section. I don't know what it's going to be, but you will in a couple of seconds. So stay tuned. Okay, folks, so here we are. We've done probably about 2.5 hours of assembly, and here is the status of where we are. So we've got R5D4 and R2 here. And I don't know if you can tell on here, but there are some places where I can tell that I miss a little bit of paint. They're specifically like right here, and you can see some differences in these areas. Some look a little bit more gray than others. I'll give you a good example here. There's one. So you got like a gray there and a lighter one there. And this was because I had primed the white pieces in a gray so that I could, tell where I had sprayed the white. But I did miss a little bit. But it's not the end of the world. I'm going to leave it as is. There's a couple small corrections I do need to make. But these little differences here that you might see here and there. So like these, the feet here and there, we're going to take care of that with some weathering effects. So not to worry. Now, there is one item that I do need to point out that I am going to have to fix, and is right here. So we've got some red spot putty on R2 on the dome. These are two pieces that come together right here, and this was just marred because I tried to sand it a little too early. It hadn't dried out. But yeah, there was just like a nice long gap there, like where these pieces come together, and that was the seam. So we're going to get rid of that. It's the only seam I'm going to fix because he's a robot and built obviously out of parts, so there are to be seams expected, except though I didn't want the one in the dome. It was just not very pretty. So I'm going to here now, I'm going to move R5, and I'll bring out my original R2. So this is the one I had built, oh gosh, probably 3 years ago. And you can see here the weathering effects on him, and I put little grease blotches and rust kind of here collecting down. I'm really proud of this one. Just dirt and smudges, little liquid rust there just to give some color. And there's some other techniques that I used on here. We'll demonstrate that when I get to R2, but I just want to show you the difference here. And on this guy here, the same thing had happened. There were some differences in the paint colors that when I painted this, I saw some changes. But when I did the weathering, it all works out. And in this guy, he looks pretty screen accurate, I think, at least for some of the scenes where he was a little bit dirty and beat up. I like that a lot better than clean and shiny, even though he was clean at the end of A New Hope, super bright and shiny. Here's some more rust there. So now for the rust and the oil, I've got this, and I'm going to have to put some more enamel thinner in there. They don't make this anymore. This is Model Master Enamel Stain, and this is like an oil. Oh no, this is the rust one, and this is like the oil stain. They don't make this anymore. I wish they did. This was really good. But I'm going to put a little bit of enamel thinner in here and mix that up and see if I can't restore what's left. It did dried out on me. Let's try to open this guy here. Well, this one's got plenty of liquid in there. And there's that smell. I love that enamel smell of the enamel paint. There's something about it. So this one's good. I'll just have to mix that up with a bristle brush and probably this one too. Let's open this guy. Well, that's pretty dried out. I'll need to put some thinner in there. But I like these stains. Now, I did also buy some Tamiya thinner here, which I will pull out if I could find it, but I can't find it. Well, oh, here it is. This is the only other thing I could find. Is Tamiya Accent Color Orange Brown. It's probably the same thing. It's very, it's very loose. I think this is enamel. But yeah, not too sure. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. So yeah, here's R2 and R5. We'll give an R5 comparison real quick. And I probably should have put their heads together before this, but I wanted to get this on camera. So R5, I really made him a lot more rusty and broken down. So yeah, that's it. And I think they're looking pretty good. But hopefully you all can tell how nice these models turn out when you paint them. If you think back to the original unboxing we did of this when we showed the sprues, all the plastic, it looked like plastic. Now this has got a nice paint to it, and it looks, the blue looks metallic. You can see the shine there, but the white is more of a matte and dull finish, which you wouldn't get an effect like this from just putting it together out of the kit. So again, I am not knocking anyone who chooses to build these just out of the box as they are. It's an option. I'm glad that Bandai does that, because a lot of people don't have a garage to spray paint in. Some people live in a small apartment or rent a single room, and you just don't have the ability to do spray painting. And I love that Bandai gives that chance option to folks that just want to build something and have fun. But just personally, I think if you have the ability to paint these or the chance, do it. I mean, it really, to me, makes a difference, and it makes the weathering so much better. Like, you can really go in there and do that. You can't do this kind of weathering really on bare plastic. It just doesn't work quite as well. So, all right, well, that's it for now. I'm going to have to let R2's little head here dry out overnight, and so I can sand this up tomorrow. I just don't want to. I shouldn't have even tried to sand that thing, but no worries. And when I get that putty sanded down, I'll just mask this all off real good and give it a shot of the aluminum, and then we'll be good to go. So anyway, it's coming along. Again, it only took me a couple of hours, maybe 2.5, to put all of these together. And as you can see here, I really didn't have any confusion as far as what the pieces were. Maybe it's because I built it before. Not really sure, but you know, essentially these two droids are the same. And the only difference in these two literally is this red piece right here, at least up to this point here. Both of these is exactly the same pieces, and there's no difference at all between them whatsoever, except for the red little tool things here. I don't know what they are, but literally the only difference. And then their heads are obviously different. And that's it. So it's a real fun kit to build if you can find it and build. And then we've got, real quick. So for R5, we've got his middle leg there extended like this. And then for R2, he's just going to just stand. You know, I think he's got a little bit more character like this. I just like it better. And then anyway, okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. So we'll see you in the next segment where we'll have both of the droids will be finished building, and we'll go into some of the weathering, which we'll film some of that and just demonstrate the technique that I use to see if you like it. And if you've got any hints or tips for me if I'm doing it wrong, let me know. So, all right, we'll see you back when we're ready to weather up, okay? Stand by. All right, everyone. So all of the assembly is complete, and we are almost ready to start weathering these little guys. So before we do that, let me point out some stuff on R2. Now, on the last video session here, we talked about the putty work we're going to do on the seam line. So right here is where the seam line is, and you can still see it. This is by no means a perfect job, and I got to push that little piece in there a little bit. This little guy was popping up, so I got to do something with that. Anyway, yeah, so the seam line isn't perfect. Now, I did mask it off with some tape just to prevent overspray, because we have these nice metallic blue that's all shiny here. I didn't want to paint over that, so we did mask it and painted over these putty lines after sanding. And it's not perfect, as you can see. So this line here is where we had some tape, and I did try to sand that off, and it just didn't quite work out. And this is where the seam line is, and it's still a little bit apparent there, especially on the top. And this was one of those decisions I made. Do I keep going and possibly make it worse, or do I just go for it and keep going? So I chose the latter. So we are going to do a little bit of cleanup here. So you can see here on the ring, on this collar, this blue thing, there's a little bit of paint that I missed there. And over here, there's a little paint that I missed on this little side guy. Now, I'm just going to decant a little bit of this blue paint onto a palette and just use a brush and get that on, let it dry, sand it off, maybe a little bit right here. And it looks like right here I've got a little bit of sanding work or something going on. It looks like it's chipped, but we'll sand that up a little bit. Now, as for these little imperfections here and all that, that's really nothing I can do, but I'm going to go ahead and disguise that. So that's the nice thing about this weathering stuff, is that you can disguise little things. Like there's a little scratch right here on this window that, so I'll be, using the various techniques and things that we have to weather this to, cover up those little blemishes here. So here's one of them. This is the Tamiya Weathering Master, and it's just 3 different colors. There's a rust brown, dirt color, a black, and a white, and you can use these in combinations to get some desired effects. And I apply those. Now, this comes with a little applicator, but only one of them. And it's basically this. And this is just an eyeshadow applicator. You can get this at Target in a makeup section. They look like a little matchbook. I think it was a couple dollars. I've had this for a long time. And you don't need to replace the applicator too often, but they get kind of dried out and gross, and you might want one for different colors. So I picked that up for a couple of dollars, and it's basically all that comes in here. So this might be, I shouldn't have touched that with the glove. I was trying to see if it's a little bit dried out, but I think it should be okay. So, yeah, I just got to be careful not to touch R2 with my thumb here. Other than that, we do have these that we talked about here. These are the Model Master stains. This is a black oily stain, and this is a rust one. And those were done, were used to do these guys here. So I'm taking, again, we're going to bring out R4 or R5, and you can see here. Now, on this guy, these strips there, these are stickers. I didn't use the water slide decals for whatever reason. Bandai does give both. There's water slide and stickers, so I think I was just lazy. So I'll be putting those on, and the water slide and there's a few decals there. But anyway, you can see here like that, this black soot stuff, we use to smudge that. Got some rust there, and I'll just be using these guys as a guide to make sure I get it all kind of how I had it here. I think these did a pretty good job, and yeah, so that is the plan there. And now, before we weather any of this stuff, it is important to note that we are going to give it a nice matte coat. So that's what I have right here. This is a Mr. Super Clear Matte. It's from Mr. Hobby. This is a relatively new supplier. At least for me anyway, I hadn't really seen them in the stores much. Maybe in the last few years I've seen them. I've used this matte pretty well, and it seems like they've got a lot of other really good products too. There's this here, it's Mr. Cement, and they have a Mr. Putty, I think. Everything has a Mr. On it, but it looks like it's some good products. They've got some good paints and primers and stuff, and I haven't used these yet, but I just picked them up. It's like a nice, very liquidy cement here. And I think I've seen a couple videos where people build with this and it brushes on. So I'm looking forward to trying that out. But for this one, for these guys, we're not going to go with any gloss clear coat. We're going to go just with the matte coat. And this is what I have. I've used it before. It works pretty well. So once we get that, a couple coats of matte on there, we'll go ahead and weather it up. And I will record that, at least some of it, kind of the same angle we've got going on here. And I'll just, we'll go really slow and dirty these guys up. So sorry, R2, you're gonna want to have a bath after. But anyway, and I've got this little thing up here. I gotta do something with that. That's popping out. So I'll glue that in or something. Fix that up again. Tamiya's generally don't. Gosh, I keep saying Tamiya. I'm so sorry. Bandai typically don't need to be glued, but in the cases where you are painting them, sometimes the pieces don't fit together quite as well as you would like, and you do have to go ahead and glue them. So I'm going to pick this guy off here. I did glue it before. So I'm just going to probably cut these off and just glue this in there from the edges and hope I don't squirt it out and do that. Why don't I just do that now? So if I have a big failure, you'll see it. So there's this little nub here that came out. It looks like, you can see I got some paint on there, and that's probably what was keeping it from getting in there really firm and secure. So I'm just going to cut it off a little bit. There we go. And we'll get the glue out. Give R2D2 a little bit of a repair. So let's see here. Thankfully it has this little thing to hold on to. Now, let's see. Let me make sure I get this in the camera. Do a little bit of repair. I'm not putting much. It doesn't need much. You know, I don't think anyone's going to be pulling on this thing. Okay, what I'm going to do is just lay this right in there. I was thinking about maybe letting it get a little dry, but nah, I'll just pop it in there. Now, it's really important when you do this, if you're going to glue these guys after you paint, is to do it one time and not move it around, because that glue will smear and it will melt that paint right off. Well, this is weird. You can see these little spots here. I don't see them with my naked eye. It's weird. Well, we'll smudge that up a little bit anyway. So it's amazing what this weathering stuff can do to hide blemishes like that. But all in all, pretty happy with this. Oh, there's one other little detail we haven't put on here yet, and that is these little wires here. These are copper looking wires that get attached down here. There's these little holes here that go into there. I think I have some copper spray paint, I believe, so I'm going to paint those. If not, I do have this copper Tamiya paint here, but what I'm going to do is paint these, and I just forgot to do it before, but I'm going to paint them on the sprues here, and let that dry, and then cut them off, and then paint where these sprues are connected there. Once I cut them off, I'll have to dab a little paint there. So there's a total of 4 of these things. There's these 2, and then one had fallen off the sprue down here in the box right there. So we're going to paint those separately. I don't like the color that this came with. It's like this ugly brown, and I like the colors that that I put on here. They're copper, and they look more natural. They look real, at least to me anyway. So alrighty, folks, so that's it for this segment. I'm going to get the clear coat on here. 2 coats I think we should do it. 2 nice full coats on there for each droid. Whoops. And we'll let that dry overnight, and then we'll apply the decals, which I won't film. That's just standard water slide decal application techniques. And then after that, we'll let those dry, put some Solvaset on there, or not the Solvaset, but the Microsol and Microset. These 2 guys. Put this one first, and then you put this one. I don't normally always put those on, but I'm going to in this case. So that's it, everybody. So we'll talk to you soon. Okay. See you in the next section.